Welcome to another manga recap. Today's episode is actually about the first manga that I ever read like years ago. The video will be about Don't Toy With Me Miss Nagatoro Part 1. All the information will be pinned in the comment section, and without further ado, enjoy the video. Just like every day after school, he decided to go to the library. Upon entering, he notices that 4 girls were sitting at a table. It was usually empty there when he comes after school. Oh well, nothing to do, he will just do his homework and then head home. With a quick glance towards the reception table, he notices that they were alone. And because of it, the girls were having a blast. They were obnoxious and loud. He couldn't deal with girls like those. But it was not like he cared about them anyways. He will just ignore them, he just had to keep calm. Right as he thinks that, his bag falls over the table right towards the girls. A lot of papers came out of the bag. One of the girls kneels down and grabs one of the papers. After looking carefully, he realizes that that paper had a drawing on it. That was the manga he drew at home yesterday. Obviously, nobody was supposed to see that. And of course, all the girls started laughing. Quickly after, all the girls picked one piece of paper each. One of the girls was jokingly saying that this was too cool for her. The second girl was saying that the drawings were really stupid, while the third one was just laughing. Lastly, one of the girls starts talking to him. Did he draw this? He was panicking, but he just had to relax and keep calm. Even if he knew what he needed to do, this was a hard situation. After laughing a bit, they start taking pictures as well. When they were done, they decided that it was time to go. 3 of the 4 girls left, but the last one wanted to stay a bit more. She was quiet. All this time, she was quiet. This was even more confusing to him since the other girls just laughed and left. But her, she was still there without saying anything. After putting his drawing on the table, she starts analyzing it. And of course, our guy was too shy to say anything. After raising her head, she tells him that she was a freshman and asks him if he was a... What is that word? Okay, I googled it, and apparently that word means that he is a second year student. After he confirms, she laughs a bit, saying bullseye. An evil grin appeared on her face. Then this meant that he was her senpai. She was staring daggers at him, getting closer and closer. And then she starts reading the rest of the manga. Though skilled in battle, he struggles his way through many hardships. On his travels, he encounters a charming dame hailing from the enemy kingdom. Joining forces with this woman known as Elizabeth, together they dethrone the demon king. Alas, their struggles are not over, as soldiers from another kingdom launch a surprise attack. While she was still reading out loud, he was doing his best to keep calm. But while trembling and sweating, it was more than obvious that he was not calm at all. So, basically, Siegfried was his self-insert, right? Side note, self-insert is when you project yourself into a character. He quickly says that that's not true, but she keeps going. He projected himself as an unlucky swordsman who met a beautiful dame, and they slowly begin to understand each other in the battlefield. Again, he was telling her that that was not true. She cuts him off, saying that she was not trying to laugh at his story. With that evil grin appearing again, she says that both him and Siegfried are really pitiful. There was a second of silence, and then another one and another one. What was with this girl? She didn't mean to nitpick about his manga, but could he tell her something? While pointing on one of the pages, she asks him what does he think about that part. Elizabeth was swinging her sword. The battlefield was the only place where she could truly be herself. She long abandoned her life as a woman, and right as he says that, the main character of the manga gently touches her hair. While the guy was saying that that was nonsense and she was beautiful, the girl was blushing. Bro, it's so hard to narrate this manga cause she's hella funny. No, she was not laughing. Siegfried was his self-insert after all. But some things were out of place. Like what? What does he mean what? He doesn't get it? Alright, she wanted to try something then. What was she on about? What did she want to try? She raises her fist saying that she never used the sword, so she will just do this. Okay, apparently she's a badass. she did some fight moves, or she knows karate, or anything like that. After that, she shamelessly takes a pose. The battlefield is the only place where I can truly be myself. I have long abandoned my life as a woman. My guy was losing this battle. He was all red, trembling, and sweating. After that, she slowly turns towards him. Come on, you know what you need to do. My guy realized what she wanted as well. She wanted to see if he could really do what his character did in his manga. He was hella scared, but he couldn't lose this battle. After making up his mind, he opens his hand and slowly approaches her hair. Little by little, his hand got closer and closer. After a second, it happened. His finger barely touched her hair. He was way too embarrassed to do this. His hand jolted out of her instantly. She quickly turns around with a grin on her face. She won. See? That was the problem. That is what she meant. That was exactly what should happen. Only hot guys can do that. He couldn't. Not even in his wildest dreams. That character, the one he drew in his manga, was just like him. He had the face of a virgin. Damn, she's roasting him, what the hell? His looks and actions didn't match at all. Hearing this, my guy was in total shock. He had no idea what he should say. Looking left and right, he was doing his best to find a way to get out of this situation. On the other hand, the girl was in her element. She was getting closer and closer. He tries to turn around, but she turns around as well, and again and again. What was he doing? Why was he trying to avoid looking at her? She asked him to please look people in the eye when they are talking to him. Understood? He was almost crying. Okay, this is literally flat out bullying, but this will change, okay? I'm just putting a side note here. She starts walking towards him, saying that he was slightly... No, he was really... After pinning him against the bookshelf, she says that he was really disgusting. At that moment, my guy actually started to cry. She was enjoying herself. What was he doing? Was he crying? He tries to say that no, he wasn't, but a simple no couldn't hide the truth that he actually started crying. While grinning at him, she takes out a napkin from her skirt. After that, oh my god, she's evil! She's evil! She wiped his tears while grinning at him and laughing. And then she gave him the napkin! That's evil, dude! Laughing a bit, she apologizes for the teasing. While turning around and opening the door, she... Okay, I know what she's doing. She's putting accent on senpai because he is like in the second year and she's a first year, so he should be more mature than her. So she's putting accent on that in order to, you know, tease him even more. After she left, the reality hit him hard. A girl who was way younger than him managed to make him cry. This would be a hard hit for any guy, 100%. After that traumatizing experience, he could only think of her. From the moment he sat on his bed to the next day going to school, he only thought of the girl who made him cry. Even so, it was a new day, so he had to go to school. Right before he managed to enter his club, he heard her calling out to him. She was all smiles, waving at him like they were friends. What was he doing? Was he part of the art club maybe? Without saying anything, he hands her her napkin. His laundered it yesterday, so she should take it back. Huh? But she gave it to him to keep. While watching him leave the room, an evil plan formed in her mind. He was finally alone in his element, surrounded by drawings. Right after he got comfortable, he heard the door sliding. There she was. Seeing that, she entered and closed the door behind her. He started to panic. What was she doing? She looks around asking if there was anybody else beside them in the room. Or maybe, are they alone together? There it is, that evil grin once again. He tells her that if she doesn't have any reason to be there, she should just go home. Without saying anything, an idea came to her mind. She goes and randomly picks a chair and then sits on it. As an apology for yesterday, she was going to model for his drawing. He stumbles his words saying that it was fine, she didn't need to. She laughs it off saying that he doesn't need to hold back, she doesn't have any plans for today. Well, it was not really a matter of holding back or anything, he just didn't feel like drawing something like that. In that case, how about something a little sexy? While grinning at him, she was slowly unbuttoning her shirt. He stumbles his words again, saying that he doesn't have any interest in anything like that, but he was looking through his fingers. What does he mean by that? Is he saying that he will only draw her in the nude? No. Hearing that, he panicked. Fine, he was going to draw her just like that. Normally. Just normally. And obviously, she was having the time of her life. Okay then, they will take a break every 20 minutes. I like that the artist of the manga went like, sound effects, pick, sound effects, snare, he hides away, sound effects, ha. He was acting totally suspiciously right now. Maybe he haven't been able to draw anything at all? 20 minutes was almost over. He looks away, saying that no, it just takes him a bit of time to take the draft down. In reality, it's not like he could help it. After all, he's never faced a girl head-on like that, not even once. She tells him that if he can draw her properly, she will give him a reward. What does she mean by reward? Laughing, she says that it's a secret. Well, it's not like he was interested in getting a reward or anything like that. But he's been drawing since he was young. He was able to do this. There was absolutely no way he couldn't draw someone like her. She was doing her best to cheer him up. This should be no problem to draw. In that moment, it looked like she realized that he was really going to do it. And just like that, the portrait was done. She instantly got behind him to watch the drawing. Well, more or less, she was satisfied with the result. While pointing towards her lips, she says that then, as promised, it was time for his reward. While getting closer to him, she asks him to close his eyes. What? Why? She tells him that it's fine. No, before he does that, he needs to know why. Again, she tells him that it's fine. He takes a second to think and then he closes his eyes. She grabs him by the chin and pulls up his head. He could feel her breath getting closer to him. Was there any chance that she was kissing him? He fell for it. She hits him with a flick of a finger. He opens his eyes just to see her doing her best to not laugh. But of course, she fails. What was up with that face? Maybe he thought that she was going to kiss him? Right? He was speechless. To think that he would get a reward for something like that, was he looking down on her? He didn't draw it properly at all. While pointing towards her legs, she says, particularly there. It was more than obvious that he was too embarrassed to draw a girl's crotch. And also, his face was all red again, just like yesterday. On top of that, he was making such a stupid face anticipating a kiss, it was hilarious. Obviously, he tries denying it, but it was more than obvious. Okay, was she done teasing him? If she finished her business, she should just go home. Go home. I mean, observing him is pretty fun. Also, why is he twitching his eyes around so much? Again, stumbling his words, he tries to say that it's because his eyes were itching. Right, was he going to cry again? Damn, look at her! Holy! When he tries to push her away, she grabs him by his hand. What was she doing? He said stop it. But the reality was that even though he was a boy, he was so weak. See, this is a prime example why you need to have bare minimum social skills. You meet with a nut job like this girl and then, yeah, you start crying again. Just like history repeats itself, he started crying again and she offered the same napkin. She quickly apologizes cause she ended up bullying him again. He tries to say that he didn't feel bullied or anything like that, but the truth was that he was crying. Even though he's never cried in front of anyone until now, he ended up crying in front of an underclassman like her. Again, she gets up telling him, next time please try your best to draw me properly. she was going to actually give him an awesome reward then. Nah, he didn't need anything like a reward. He was done. Lately, something was on his mind, and that thing was her. That girl again. She starts to happily wave and laugh when seeing him. What in the world did she want from him again? Out of nowhere, she goes, "Please go out with me." Man, girls are evil. Of course, when hearing that, the shock was so strong that he dropped his bag. He tried to muster some words, but he failed miserably. Of course, she starts laughing. Come on, man, how are you going to believe her? Don't fall for that. She slaps him on the back in order to make him recover from the shock. Of course, she was lying. Laughing, she starts hitting him over and over and over, saying that it was a lie. Really now, she wished that he'd learned his lesson already. Did he really think that he would ever get a confession from a girl or anything like that? He says that he knew it was a lie. Huh, really? He was just startled by hearing something like that out of nowhere, that was all. After all, making fun of him is all she does. She was a bit surprised this was the first time when he addressed her directly. While saying that is so gross, she jokingly pushes him, but he goes flying. He was so light. There was a moment of silence between the two of them. After he gets up, she hits him with a "I'm sorry." While fixing his glasses, he says that he's pretty much fine. From laughing, she becomes serious. Why isn't he getting mad already? She was aware that she's been doing some really messed up things to him after all. He takes a second to think back on all the previous days, that was for sure. He's been bullied for a long while now, so he knows the way to handle it. Avoid their gaze, close his heart and let it pass. So in the end, he can't even remember the faces of those people he hated all that time. However, she was different. Her face was engraved in his mind. Seeing that he was quiet, she sees the opportunity to troll again. Maybe he's fallen in love with her? She bursts into laughing. Instantly, he tries to say that no, that's not true. Falling in love or anything like that is a separate issue. What do you mean a separate issue? Okay then, setting that aside. So, why was he not getting mad? He takes a second to reply and clenches his fist. Honestly, he does get annoyed and he does get angry. But thinking back to all the people who previously bullied him, the truth was that he didn't dislike talking with her. She said that hearing him call her you, it's gross. Okay then, her name. He wanted to know her name. He was a bit too brave for his own character. Even so, she starts smiling. And then she does that thing that Japanese people do, you know, when they have a name and then they say the name and then they split it into words. Like she does Naga as in long and Toro as in she suddenly touches his chest with her finger. It was a bit difficult to write, so she was basically writing it on his chest. Girls are evil. She tells him to call her Nagatoro. Yoroshiku. Also, she doesn't care about his name. Senpai is just fine. Some days later, he was in a shop buying his favorite manga, the latest volume. He couldn't bear the wait and ended up buying on the way to school. It's the long-awaited volume that has everyone online at the edge of their seats with bathing chapter inside. He quickly closes it. Nope, he can't read that there. If by some small chance she swings by again. The door slides. Look at her, that's so creepy. The demon is back. Nagatoro was back once again. When seeing her, he tries to quickly hide the manga. He had a really dirty expression just now. She was getting a really dirty aura from him. In a split of a second, she grabs him by his hand. See? Something real dirty. They start fighting over the manga with him saying that it's not something dirty. She doesn't buy it, teasing him that he looks like somebody who really loves dirty stuff. Oh my god, what the heck? She grabs him by the hand and tells him if he is in that kind of mood, he could always use her. That's evil! That's evil! Of course, the obvious happened. Because of the shock, he let go of the manga. She was having an absolute blast. He was so simple. Bro, what do you mean simple? That would have an impact on any guy. What the heck? Her and him doing that sort of stuff, not a chance. Not a chance. Or what? Did she get him even just for a second? Evil! When she opened the magazine, she started yelling. It was actually really dirty. And of course, he tries to explain the situation. Those sorts of fan service scenes have become expected from a shonen manga. However, for him, he bought it solely for the comedy. He started mumbling out of nowhere. He was disgusting. But even though he said all that, this is what he really liked, right? It was a scene where the protagonist's lucky pervert ability is just at full burst. When she hears that, she loses it. What is a lucky pervert? So what, he wants to fill up a girl while they both tumble down? Is that it? He looks away, telling her to not mix reality with fiction. Who cared anyways, he just wanted his manga back. But of course, Nagatoro wanted to read it just a bit longer. While fighting with each other, they stumble down and it happens, but the other way around. She accidentally put her hand on... yeah. This picture is absolutely hilarious. This time it was her turn to be shy. I mean, she was shy, but our guy was kinda dead. Grinning, she says that it looks like Senpai's wish has been fulfilled. He starts screaming. There was something very different going on there. On the way back home, she apologizes to him and he says that it's really not a big deal. After a second of being calm, another evil plan appears in her head. Was that his first time getting touched by a girl? What was she saying? How was it then? How could he possibly know to answer that? She was losing it. His face was all red. Could it be that she got him? She tells her to just shut up already, but she was not done. She raises her hand and asks him, how about I give you another feel? Of course, she didn't mean that, she just started to tickle him. But she went a bit too hard and it was pretty painful for him. While laughing, she starts running away. Right before she left, she turns towards him and waves at him. Later on, when he got home and started reading his book, the moment he got to the page where the incident happened, he was screaming inside. The next day, he was back in his club drawing alone. And surprisingly, Nagatoro was not there. Yet. He always loved still life. It's still just like the name says, and it doesn't stare back at him. It felt like his troubled heart was being cleansed away. He didn't have enough time to enjoy himself that Nagatoro appeared out of nowhere. It seemed like he was drawing some boring things again. And even worse, he was all by himself again. Should she model for him one more time? He takes a second to reply and then turns around saying that it's fine, she doesn't need to do that. He preferred to draw stuff like that anyways. That was her cue to go, so he really can't draw a woman's body. He replies saying that it's not like he can't draw it, he just doesn't want to. But of course, she wasn't buying it. She was probably the only one who was crazy enough to be a model for someone as disgusting as him. What, was he going to let that chance slip away? Will he keep running away from his weakness? The teasing was intensifying. Didn't he want to get better? Or what, did he want to stay awful like that forever? With his ego hurting, he said fine, he will do it, he will draw her again. Laughing a bit, she says that's the spirit. She turns around telling him that she needs to prepare a bit, so he can't look that way. What in the world did she mean by prepare? While facing away from her, he heard a sound. It sounded like she was taking her shirt off. And this time it wasn't just a button or two, he could clearly hear the shirt being taken off. To make it even worse, she tells him that it's a bit cold, can he turn on the heater? Without asking any questions, he gets up and turns the heater on. With a towel covering her body, grinning at him, she says that she's done preparing. Seeing her like that, he started to freak out. He couldn't believe that she was actually doing this sort of thing. Grinning, she asks him what sort of thing. Right after that, she takes the towel off right in front of him. She got him again. She was in her swimsuit. Of course, seeing his reaction, she bursted into a laugh. Or what, was he imagining something else maybe? She was asked to help the swimming club and the president's old swimsuit fits her perfectly, so she tried it on. Poor guy could barely look her in the eyes with her normal clothes, so obviously he lost this fight. This is exactly what she wanted. And of course, she made sure to take advantage of the situation to tease him as much as he could. While mumbling his words, he turns around saying that swimsuits are everywhere, so it's totally normal. Is that so? Then he must have gotten used to seeing swimsuits, right? In anime and stuff? Oh my god, she's evil. My dude was losing it. Seeing his reaction, she was laughing and clapping. She takes a seat and tells him to make sure to observe the real thing, okay? And now it was time for the sketch. After 20 minutes, the paper was almost blank. And of course, Nagatoro was behind him judging everything. He tried to defend himself, but the truth was that staring at a girl in a swimsuit is just weird. And of course, that was her plan all along. The moment she hears that, she starts poking him, telling him how awful he was. The next day started more normal. Did he see the movie from yesterday? The one about the vampire, right? Yeah, he did. She thought that the movie was really good. The tragedy of eternal life and romance. She loves stuff about vampires. He was not a fan of horror movies, but he agreed that the story was quite interesting. He sadly fell into the poor vampire's clutches. The poor guy's blood was sucked until he was all dried up. But he had nothing to worry about if he was going to get caught by a vampire. Really? Why was that? Grinning at him, she says that it's because he was a virgin. If someone who lost their virginity gets bitten by a vampire, they become a brain-dead ghoul. But he will be just fine. While looking away, he says that it's not like it will know who is a virgin and stuff, even if it's a vampire. I mean, he was right. Okay, she has fangs now. Why does she have fangs? With an evil smile on her face, she asks him why don't they test that out. I don't know how, but even if this manga is white and black, this scene here is even more white and black. It feels like there was a thunder outside. I don't know how to describe it. After a second of silence, she says just kidding and laughs it off. Oh, I get it now. She was drinking tomato juice just for this. Look at the way she's staring at me. She's staring at his neck. In that moment, he could feel her gaze on his neck. Out of nowhere, she says, a test. A test. Can she have just one bite? No, obviously. Come on, she's not going to suck it. Just a little bite. Out of context. Again, no, what was she saying? I'm trying to not laugh, but it's hard. My dude was panicking. He knew she was dangerous, but she wants to stop being human as well? He leans down to him, showing him her canines. They were pretty sharp, huh? So she just wanted to use them and give him a bite. Without saying anything, both of them get up and he slowly starts walking back. Obviously, she wasn't going to let him go, she was slowly following him. This was actually feeling like she's became an actual vampire. Come on, he told her to stop, and of course she doesn't. After chasing him, she landed on top of him. And even worse, it didn't look like it was bothering her. She was just grinning while pinning him down. It looked like he was fated to be her prey. He starts panicking, saying that if someone sees them like that, it will cause a misunderstanding. Was she okay with that? Misunderstanding. About what? He looks away saying that's many things, but yeah, he was too shy to describe those things. He gets interrupted by her unbuttoning his shirt. Okay, he was actually getting scared now. She wasn't joking. She slowly puts her arms around his neck, saying that his neck was so slender. I mean, if he doesn't like it, why is he not trying to push her off by force? Oh wait, that's impossible for him, right? He was telling her to slow down and wait, but she was getting closer and closer to his neck. The moment she was almost next to his neck, she could feel his breath. That was very effective. He was thinking of garlic. After all, garlic was effective against vampires. After letting him go, she points towards the door, telling him to go brush his teeth. Yeah, no way, that saved him. Some days later, he was alone in a restaurant. Even though he was not at school anymore, he was looking past his shoulder to see if Nagatoro won't spawn from anywhere. This was an unknown family restaurant far away from the road to school. There was only a few customers at a time. This was his chance to finally relax and continue drawing his manga, right as he thinks that he could hear the door of the store opening. And you guessed it, it was not just Nagatoro, but it was 3 more people. Fun fact for the ones who are still watching, this manga got an anime, and the girl to the right, the one with ponytails, was voiced over by Lily Pichu. I don't know if you know the... you gotta know the YouTuber. Yeah, for the English version of the anime. His seat was pretty far from them and he was doing his best not to make it obvious. Why in the world was she there? It looked like she was having lunch with a guy. While the guy was doing his best to talk with her, she was pretty much ignoring him. Those male students, he was sure that they were from the class next to his. I think one of the guys was trying to wingman in order to impress Nagatoro. He was saying that that guy is in a band and he's making some sick music. They even had a CD ready, handing it to Nagatoro, saying that she could listen to it if she wants to. She was saying that it was a bit different from those simple to understand melody that masses like. She was coming from a more soul and hipponic artistic style. The girl with ponytails grabs one of the boys and says that she's going to the drink bar. He could tell that it was hard to understand just from the sounds that was leaking out. And it seemed like she was pretty angry as well. That guy, it seemed like he didn't know what was about to come. He was just like a moth flying into the flame. He will be toyed with and beaten down just like him. For some reason, Nagatoro's response was pretty plain. She doesn't really understand. Hearing that, the guy starts making excuses, saying that, well, yeah, it's a bit abstract. Abstract? No, she just didn't feel anything. That was all. What she felt was the fact that he didn't actually try. She was sure that she was not wrong. The guy didn't know what to answer. He knew that she was probably right. This was a different reaction from what he expected. Poor guy was devastated, saying that he was going to the toilet. His friend apologizes, saying that that guy can't read the mood. He didn't plan on bringing him with them, but he kept asking. Nagatoro was looking away without saying anything. Even that guy said that her guard was surprisingly high. It was more than obvious that that guy, he's been harassing her for a while now. He tells her that she doesn't need to be that wary. He was actually from an all-boys middle school, so he was totally not used to dealing with girls. He tells her that he's never fondled breasts before. Who says that? Hearing that, Nagatoro had a very interesting facial expression. How do you describe that? What is that expression? What was this guy doing? He didn't know if he was doing this to lower her guard or what, but if he exposes his weakness like that, he will be bullied until he cries. Nope, again, her response was pretty normal. Nagatoro says that she was thinking that talking about stuff like that in a first meeting is a bit weird. Hearing that, the guy is a bit taken aback and quickly apologizes. This made no sense. She didn't react like she usually does with him. The other guy's like, I'm going to the toilet. Her friend sits next to her and asks her if she's not interested in boys. She says no, not really. That was not the case, but she was just thinking that these two were boring. And she even set it up for her since those senpais were aiming for her. Come on, she told her to stop doing stuff like that. What do you mean? But they were handsome. I love this manga. After that encounter, he was walking home. He was slowly starting to realize that the only person that Nagatoro was bullying was him. He kept walking and walking, and he didn't know what to do with this information. Out of nowhere, somebody slaps him on the top of his head. There she was, smiling as usual. She tells him that his silhouette is distinct, so she could tell even from far away. It was like there's something disgusting there. It was like he was wriggling. He was very, very thin. Also, what is that face? Out of nowhere, she interrupts her, trying to say something. With a smile on her face, she was waiting for him to speak. But, of course, in the end, he ended up being too shy. He changes his mind, saying that no, it's nothing. Come on, she was curious now. Even so, he insists that it was nothing. The next day, after going to the club and painting, he was out washing his hands. It looked like the paint was not coming off. It's been a while since he made an oil painting, so he forgot how much the oil stains his hands. Again, out of nowhere, the demon spawns. Of course, he got scared since he didn't expect her, and for some reason she wanted to use the same sink as him. She spilled her juice, so her hands were all sticky. Hearing that, he tells her to not come any closer. Hearing that, she tells him to not be so mean. But why was she using the same sink? Why not? That was fine. Okay, I think I get where this is going. This is another troll. While they were washing their hands, she notices that he was watching her. Didn't she think that it was rather cramped in there? Laughing a bit, she says that he was right, it really was. Out of the blue, she tells him that washing their hands together like that, it's like they are taking a shower together before doing something lewd. The moment he heard that, his face became a bright red. Shortly after, he asks her to stop saying stuff like that. When they try to reach the water, their hands touch for a second. In that moment, seeing how scared he got, an evil plan formed in her head. Can I show this on YouTube? Like, it's just hands. But it feels wrong. Like, it feels wrong. Holding his hands and looking at him, she asks him, since they went that far, does he want to give that a try? Of course, he was losing it. That, what did she mean by that? What else? Washing him. He had the same reaction from the first chapter when he tried to touch her hair. His hands jolted out of her hands and then he started to run away. What the hell was that? He even had foam on him, but he still ran away. Yup, he knew that, but he was going to wash his hands at the toilet. The next day, he was alone in the club waiting for Nagatoro, who for some reason was being late. The previous day, she said that she will model for him the next day. Of course, his first reaction was to try to decline that, saying that he will sketch an apple or something. She was tired of hearing that. Both apples and bananas, you can draw them whenever you want. How can he not understand the value of the opportunity he's being given? In the end, he accepted, but it didn't look like she was coming. He was thinking to himself that if she doesn't come, then it's fine, but it was more than obvious that he was a bit disappointed. Right as he thinks that, somebody opens the sliding door and starts pushing a couch inside the room. The demon was pushing it all by herself. From now on, I declare that her nickname will be the Demon. What was she doing? Without replying, she sits down in a fashion that makes me wonder if I can put this picture in the video. There was an unneeded sofa in the handicrafts club, so she went in and got it. The chairs from the drawing club were so stiff and uncomfortable. Hey yo, look at that, I see some thumbnail potential, let's go. Seeing how she was acting, he tells her to keep in mind where she was right now. Without skipping a beat, grinning at him, she tells him that with this sofa, she can make so many poses. She can do all sorts of things now. One after another, she was taking more and more seductive poses. When she lifted her skirt a bit, he lost it. They were not doing that, he wanted the normal pose. For now, she agrees and takes a normal pose, so he starts to prepare his pencil. This was doable. The pose was normal enough for him to be able to draw, but what he couldn't understand was why was Nagatoro asking him every time to draw a picture of her. But to us, it was more than obvious why. To troll him and also fan service. Right when he was looking at her, she quickly increases the lewdness of her pose. Seeing his reaction, she quickly started to tease him. Why was his face so red? He tells her that her skirt is kinda rolled up a little, if she could fix it. Of course, she uses that chance to laugh at him again, saying that he's a total pervert. After that exchange, it looked like she was a bit tired, so she starts stretching. It was more than obvious that he didn't even start drawing. He says that he was readying himself. For some reason, she was feeling kinda sleepy, so she lays down on the couch. Since he still didn't start drawing, it was fine to change her pose, right? He tells her that was fine, but she quickly interrupts him, saying that she will reward him if the drawing turns out to be good. Of course, he tries to refuse it, but she said that she was fine with anything as his reward. But to him, that just sounded like a punishment game. Well, that was because he was lacking fighting spirit. While he was thinking about the meaning of her words, she started to slowly fall asleep on the couch. He was a bit surprised. Was she actually asleep? A moment has passed, and then another one, and then another one. She was actually sleeping. It was more than obvious that this was his time to shine. It was the perfect situation for him. She was standing still since she was sleeping, and most importantly, she couldn't toy with him. He could finally draw and relax in the same time. After about an hour, the drawing was done, and oh my god, look at that. I know that this is a drawing of a drawing, but it's so good. The one who drew this is so talented. He somehow managed to draw her, but he drew the female form properly, but why did he become so unique? It was somewhat embarrassing, since he drew with such vigor that the rough sketch kinda deviated. If Nagatoro were to see this, the demon spawns again. He tries to argue, saying that he's still in the middle of it, but she says that time's up. Of course, next up was his reward. Just like last time, she asks him to close his eyes. Wanting to get over with this, he quickly does so. It was most likely another head flick, and truth be told, that was painful. She looks at him, and this time, she actually kissed him on the cheek. My dude was starstruck. Of course, she couldn't just do something nice, so she decides to gently slap him. She starts running in the opposite direction while waving at him. After that, while sticking her tongue out at him, she left the room. My guy was shy, but I think she was a bit shy as well this time, I'm not sure. Some days later, the demon decided to message him on his phone. Oh, they exchanged phone numbers, damn, okay. What was he doing right now? He was doing lewd things alone, right? He replies that he was not, he was doing his homework. Okay then, there's a quiz for him. What was she doing right now? I don't know, watching TV or something? Right in that moment, he notices an incoming call on his phone. The answer was... Brother, can I show this on YouTube? Can I?
You bet your sweet bippy I did.
It was bath time, hot and steamy. Hearing that, he got so scared and surprised that he fell from his chair, and she heard all that through her phone. She tells him that he is overreacting too much. He doesn't agree, he was not overreacting at all. His hand slipped and his notebook fell. Liar. His voice sounded so weird. Was he excited or what? Again, he didn't agree. What about his voice? She was having a blast. Her voice was weird because he was having some wild delusions. Was he imagining her naked body? He was not doing this at all. He was not thinking of anything. Right now, he was concentrated on his homework only. Obviously, that was a lie. For her, this was a prime occasion to drive him crazy. Once again, she uses this opportunity to call him a pervert. While he was busy denying this, the unthinkable happened. he notices that she accidentally turned on the camera with her ear. He could clearly see her having an absolute blast in the tub. She made a video call. She was still thinking that, I quote, he was overflowing with wild delusions about seeing his naked body. He tells her that he can see her through the call. Hearing that, she looks at her phone just to see him look away as usual. This time it was her turn to be shocked and shy. Though he said he could only see from the shoulder up. So what he was saying is that it was okay, he didn't see much. Also, he apologizes for looking, but she tells him that he has no reason to apologize. It didn't really matter, this was her fault, not his. Now both of them were quiet and shy. He woke up leaning on a tree. When he opens his eyes, he could see a castle, monsters and dragons flying. Where in the world was he? In front of him there was a giant lizard. After a second, the lizard noticed him as well and started running towards him. Right before he got eaten, he got saved by Nagatoro, who was wearing... Is that a catsuit and a cheerleader costume? The lizard was sent flying backwards. She introduces herself as Nagatoro. Okay. She means Nagatoro? Nope, Nagatoro. That's awesome. Even this version of Nagatoro started to bully him. He was like older than her, but he was so unreliable. Since he was looking so sad, she will go with him for a bit. And like that, their adventure began. They fought many monsters, slime, goblins, they even took a break at the local tavern. When they were done, the fight resumed. After a while, they end up fighting a dragon. The dragon spit fire towards them, but he managed to block the attack using magic. Taking advantage of the opening, Nagatoro jumps into action and kills the dragon. Laughing, she says that he was kinda cool earlier. Shy as usual, he looks away and she kisses him on the cheek. If they keep going like this, they will definitely defeat the Demon King. The Demon King? No way, they were too weak. While grabbing his hand, she says that if it's him and her, they can do anything. And so, they arrived at the castle of the Demon Lord. They walked through the infinite hallway, opened doors, and finally they found the throne room. It seemed like the Demon King wasn't in. Oh, but he is. Can I show this on YouTube? Is this safe? Do I risk it?
You bet your sweet bippy I did.
Right as she says that, her costume disappears and she starts transforming. Can I show this on YouTube? Do I risk it? Surprise! She was the great Demon King Nagatoro. He falls onto the ground and then after a second asks her why did she trick him. Bursting into laugh, she says that's because he was way too easy to trick. Is there any chance that he fell in love with her and that's why he got it all wrong? Did the misunderstanding start because of that kiss on the cheek? Gross. He was a coward and a small fry. There would be no way she could fall in love with him. Can I show this on YouTube? Do I risk it? She got him good. Something like that. That kiss. His heart can't take it anymore. She puts a collar on him saying that he will be there forever. He was going to be her plaything, so he better do his best to keep her entertained. In that moment, he wakes up. While going towards the school, he could hear the usual call. There she was right behind him posing like a cat. Seeing the resemblance, this time he was even more shy. Of course, she noticed that. Today he was moving even weirder. Did something happen? Obviously, he instantly denies it. The next day, they were back in the art room. She realized he never talks back to her, huh? He turns his head towards her. What does she want now? Like, you know, isn't he supposed to respond to her disses? Long story short, she was trying to convince him to, you know, fight back. What, did she think that he was actually able to do that? She was hyped. She wanted to try it out. They were going to try it out now. He had to stand over there. So when she was walking down the road to get there, she ran into a scarecrow. Why was there a scarecrow in that place? This is weird, she thought as she approached it, and then she looked carefully and it wasn't a scarecrow, it was him. Badum. After that, the silence takes over the room. She grabs him by the hand in order to help him gently hit her. Who's the scarecrow? See, it was easy. They weren't great entertainers, so he didn't need a great reply. He just needed to learn to put some guts into it and be snappy. Taking his hand out, he was thinking that he starts to understand. He was visualizing it. Her teasing him and him telling her to shut up. Okay then, he was pretty sure that he could do this. That was her cue to be mean. As usual, she approaches him saying that she's so sorry for calling him gross earlier. He has this gross mascot aura around him. His hairstyle was also interesting. It was all fluffy. Like, was he a sheep or what? What, was he going to be shearing time soon? Should she help out? Shave off the fluff. Shave off the fluff. While gently poking him, she was waiting for his response. But it didn't look like a response was coming. She didn't need to go that far. For a moment, it looked like the demon felt bad. She even mumbles an apology. Of course, it doesn't take more than 2 seconds for her to be evil again. She gets closer to him, telling him to not get all sulky. He was truly gross. What? Was he going to cry again? She was doing her best to make him angry in order to get a response. And the response arrived. He yells shut up and tries to hit her. But yeah, wrong target. Realizing what happened, both of them got shocked and turned away in an instant. He apologizes and she doesn't say anything. She plays it off saying that he sure can do it when he tries. But next time he better hit her in the shoulder. Or could it be that he aimed there on purpose? Obviously he did not. Outside, people were playing football. That guy was called Hosokawa. He was the soccer's club star. They say he was the kind of superstar who could easily go pro. It really didn't seem like the two of them were the same age. Come on, that's not even relevant. She laughs at him, saying that she feels an aura of jealousy or something. He replies that there's no way, but well, getting praised by the people around you like that seemed like it would be nice. Really, does he want to get praised himself? Well, a little. But it's not like he had any talents. So there haven't been any chances for him to get complimented. There it is, that evil grin again. He was already on guard. Probably she was just going to make fun of him or something. Out of nowhere, she asks him if he complimented other people at all. After thinking a bit, he says not much. He has to put that talent thing to the side. If he really wants to get praised first, you gotta compliment other people. People who never compliment others will never get complimented themselves. It was pretty obvious, but it looked like he didn't realize it on his own. So, going off that, as practice, she wants him to compliment her. Huh, why does he have to do that? It was fine, he could say whatever, it was just practice. She was saying compliment, but the heck was he supposed to say? Her face, he thought that it was pretty cute, but he can't just say that when she's facing him like that. Her legs were slim as well as beautiful, but that's pretty much sexual harassment. She also smelled nice, but that would make him look like a pervert. Stumbling his words, he manages to say that her hair is silky, and that's good. Hearing that sorry attempt of a compliment, she bursts into laugh. The "that's good" part got her. Again, she hits him with that "sorry, please compliment me more." He quickly adds that he thought it was nice that she was so light on her feet. That was smooth. That was smooth. Okay, safe. Hearing that, she was pretty energetic. After thanking him, she asks for more compliments. After taking a second to think about it, he says that when he saw her how she kicked before, he thought it was really cool. This was a genuine compliment which surprised her a bit. Well, she's been complimented enough now. Now it was her turn to compliment him. pretty much foreseeing the future. He's like, don't go too hard on me. She takes a second without saying anything to think, and then another one and another one. She was trolling again. A bit annoyed, he tells her that if there's nothing to praise about him, then just say so. Bursting into laugh, she says that it was just a joke. After she was done laughing, she says that his face is interesting. And by that, she meant the expressions he's making are pretty interesting. Whenever he's being stared at, he's kinda looking down and starts twitching. Right as he says that, he does it. And of course, she notices it. As usual, he tries to find an excuse saying that his eyes are itchy. She gets up laughing a bit, saying that she accidentally made Senpai cry again. Right as he was denying it, she quickly dashes behind him. He didn't have time to react, it was too late. Another compliment was that his back was so great, beating it felt so good. A bit annoyed, he says that those weren't even compliments at all. But she quickly adds that every once in a while, smiling a bit, she was just calmly watching him. Smiling a bit, she was calmly watching him while he was drawing. Every once in a while, what? Nothing. My guess is that she likes that he's actually doing his best to draw, because in that chapter when she went out with those two guys with her friend, when she listened to the music of that guy, she said that it felt like he was not even trying. But he is actually trying to draw, and I think that's what she likes about him. I don't know, it's just a guess. A little bit later, it was time to eat. He went to the school cafeteria and he was going to attempt the good old lonely meal, but all the seats were taken, all the tables were full. There was no seat left for him. And of course, you guessed it, the only free seat was next to Nagatoro. This time she was not alone, she was together with her friends. She was friendly and waving at him, but the other two were ominous. In his mind, all three of them looked like demons. Also, can I post this on YouTube? Do I risk it? Bro, this manga is kinda pushing it. There was nothing but trouble at the table, but when he turns around, he notices that he had no choice. He could hear his heartbeat going louder and louder. Well, if she's going to invite him, he will just start eating so he can finish fast. Running away was not an option. Obviously, the moment he sits down, Nagatoro's friends ask him if he is Nagatoro's boyfriend. The girl with the long hair looks pretty cool, like not the ponytail one. The one to the right looks pretty cool. He panics a bit, saying that that's not, but he gets interrupted by Nagatoro. She says that that's right, they were going out, right? After a second of silence, both of them burst into laugh. The girl with ponytails asks him how far did he go with Hayachi. I mean, when she says that, what exactly is she referring to? Of course, both of them noticed how red his face was. After a second, the girl with ponytails grabs him by the hand and asks him if he wants to go out with her as well. And this is when Nagatoro looked jealous for the first time. Oh my god! Look at that, look at her face, holy. As usual, he fixes his glasses and looks the other way. Her other friend was jokingly saying that the obvious version is too timing, so funny. I feel like Nagatoro wasn't having so much fun. But, you know, rather than being her boyfriend, doesn't he seem more like her pet? After a second of silence, Nagatoro started laughing. She was right, he was like a pet, he was all fluffy. In that moment, the girl with ponytails raised her hand to touch it, but she got slapped by Nagatoro. Damn! While looking at her like she was going to murder her, she tells her that Senpai's hair is gross, so she better not touch it. But of course, she was different. She was going to rub his hair as much as she wanted. Wait, even pet doesn't cut it, right? It sure doesn't. More like a slave? They were being a bit mean now. Nagatoro tries to laugh it off, patting him on the back, and when her friend tries to do the same, she grabs her hand, staring daggers at her. It's pretty annoying because I don't have any names to work with, just Nagatoro, and I gotta go the girl with ponytails, the girl with long hair, but yeah, we need to work with that. Her other friend said that, man, sure it's funny. Dave said so much, but isn't he more like an insect than a slave? It seemed like he wasn't even a man. At that moment, Nagatoro had enough. She stepped in saying that she said enough. Because of that, the atmosphere at the table was pretty awkward. The other girl realized what was going on and starts smiling. While grinning, she apologizes because it seemed like she insulted her boyfriend. After looking away for a second, Nagatoro says that's not what she was talking about. He was right, both of them were really ominous. I don't know if I should show this, but YOLO. In his eyes, it looked like a battle between two demon lords. What was going on? Was she getting angry for his sake? He had no clue of what was going on, and he could hear his heartbeat getting louder and louder. Out of nowhere, they get interrupted. Slamming the table, he says that he is not Nagatoro's boyfriend. Everybody was like, huh? What? Followed by a very, very painful silence. That's it? That's all he was going to say? Well, he just said that because he's not her boyfriend, that was all. Seeing his reaction, both of them bursted into laughing and said that he was kinda interesting. While Nagatoro was messing with his hair even more, both of them apologized to him for earlier. Okay, so here we are at the end of the episode. If you watched until this point, make sure to like the video and maybe subscribe, it helps the channel. I had an absolute blast doing this video cause this manga is hella funny. I really hope this will do good in numbers cause I really want to continue this series, but yeah, you know, I gotta look at the numbers as well. But anyways, what do you think? Will they get together, or how do you think that the story will evolve? That's it for now, see you next time.